coming to you live from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. We got Dr. Steve Wingfield. You are in Florida, correct?
I'm in Florida today. That's right. I'm down in Fort Lauderdale enjoying some sun for the weekend.
Yeah, and I've got some cold. It was 35 degrees when I woke up this morning. So, but it's sunny now, so the sun's coming out. And Jennifer, you are in Detroit,
I'm
Michigan, the Motor
in
City.
Michigan. Yep. So same thing, 30 degrees, but we've got some sun.
Is it still the Motor City or is it the
It's
8 Mile City?
It's the Motor City.
Just
Always.
making sure it was still always Motor City, always Motor City. I love that. Well, let me do just a quick introduction. Dr. Steve Wingfield serves as CEO of Wave Dental Professionals, a DSO based in Detroit. He is a sought after international speaker, consultant, educator, provides executive oversight on the clinical affairs, strategic growth at Dental Well Practice. Oh, no, I said Dental Well. I pulled this from your old LinkedIn. So at Wave Dental Professionals. I should change that. I shouldn't copy and paste. There we go.
That's
And
okay.
Jennifer M is the VP of Operations at Wave Dental, and you've been in the dental industry since 2005.
That's
and I
right.
thought what was the coolest thing is you are a Michigan Wolverine.
I am. Yes. And tomorrow is the Michigan State game. So all of my kids went to school with their maize and blue today. So we have to represent the best Michigan football team.
How often has Michigan State ever really outshined Michigan in football?
We
Hasn't been often.
we call them little brother for a reason. Little
Well, I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us. Main reason I wanted to get both of you on is leadership, CEO, COO, VPs, etc. You both make it look really easy in terms of operations. I know it's not easy. I know this stuff is super hard, but what is it that you do that really helps make it so easy? And I'll ask Jennifer first. What is it that you do that really makes your operations? Because you get good feedback. I hear great things. We've got a team that works with you, and we hear amazing things about the culture, the teams. What is it that is key to that?
I think number one is building the team underneath us. I think it's really important for us to choose the right people, to put strong people in leadership. We use kind of personality assessments to determine where people fit best in an organization, where they're going to be the most successful in the jobs that they're doing. So really building the team is number one, but communicating. We communicate. We talk things through, and not just one way. We talk as a team and get different ideas and opinions, and then build the best strategic decisions and execute it.
I think it's interesting because there's this, well, I guess it's been around a while, the hot topic of culture, right? Oh, you got to build a culture. You got to build culture. You got to build teams. You got to build culture. But
Yeah.
I think people all the time put mission statements on a wall. They put their core values on the walls, and then they just kind of move on, right? And then most of the time, you could ask half the people in an organization what the core values and mission. They couldn't tell you. I'm not sure. And they're like, "Oh, Dr. Wingfield, I don't think he even knows." But you guys embody that in terms of how you build your teams. We see it. We have a big team with you in our offices in Africa and Zimbabwe, and we see that. So, Steve, how do you bring that into your workplace? As Jennifer mentioned, communication, but how do you do that on a consistent basis?
Well, what I believe when we started this business is that we had to have a clear vision of who we wanted to be, because there's a lot of folks in the dental service space right now. And, I believe we have to start with a vision of who we want to be. And I'm very clear as a dentist and a CEO and business owner that, we really want to improve dental health for everyone. That is the vision that we see for us. Now, that means we look at someone like Joseph, who's our controller. While he's handling all of these things, he knows his job is that he's supporting those who are improving dental health for everyone. People making answering the phones, whether they're in Detroit or whether they're in Zimbabwe. They understand that their job is that they're helping improve dental health for everyone. So for us, getting very, very clear on our mission, vision, and core values, and really determining what type of organization do we want to be. Who are we in the space? And then, really a leadership style of co-elevation. where we are looking to lift each other up every opportunity that we get. And we're looking to help one another co-elevate and be the very, very best at reaching our core values, which our core value is service. We believe in serving the customer, serving one another, serving the business, and most importantly, serving with integrity. So it's building that foundation of who we want to be, having a clear vision of who we want to be, and tying that very clearly into our goals. We have 6 goals, 3 about supporting the practice, 3 about supporting the patient. Everyone knows what they are. We call them wildly important goals or WIGs, and we are extraordinarily clear on what it is that we're doing. And I think that's how we've built the culture that we're super proud of.
Wow, you mentioned the word co-elevate. I don't think I've ever heard that. I know I haven't. That's a really cool way to look at it when you want to help co-elevate. Kind of, for me, I tie a lot of things into like biblical scriptures, and I always think about Ephesians 4:29. It says, "Let no unwholesome talk come into your mouth, but only that which builds others up," and that's co-elevating, right?
It is.
That's taking what you do each day and making sure you're elevating others. And you know what? When you have a mission that says, "I'm gonna help other people elevate," then you don't have to worry about yourself. People look at you and think, "Oh man, Jennifer, Steve, they're just fantastic to be around. They're always lifting me up or elevating me as well." And that's a little bit unheard of today in terms of the way. And your wigs, I mean, everybody, not everybody, you've heard of BHAG, we love that from Jim Collins's book, Big Hairy Audacious Goal. But I like say that again, wildly
important goals.
Important goals. Okay, wigs. Yeah, that's really cool.
There are wildly important goals. And I mean, I think the other thing that I'll just kind of throw out there that I believe sets us apart than any other DSO out there is that our leadership team is not in an ivory tower. As a matter of fact, we really do not have a corporate office anymore. We got rid of it because our teams are in the field. We go into the office and we are knee to knee, eye to eye with our teams. Now, we might have an office to sit in there, but we are on the floor. We expect our regional managers to be in an office 2 to 3 days a week. I am in an office of some sort, even if I'm doing meetings all day long, more than a day a week. I'm seeing patients several days a month out of choice. I'm busy. I don't have time to do it, but it's so important to me that we are not just talking the talk. We are walking the walk in every single thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being on the front lines, right? And being involved and being in the middle of it. It's funny as we've began to develop each of our floors in Africa and Zimbabwe and Zambia both, and Costa Rica, we don't have offices. And we got very few, like there's a few for conferences and our workplace wellness, pastoral care has one. But, we've said, look, you just need to be out in the middle of everybody. You need to be accessible. You need to be visible. You don't want to need locked behind a door. So it's unfortunate, but still in today's, people say I need a big corner office and insulated from everybody else and kind of keep me separate as well. Well, you said something interesting, and I'll pose this to Jennifer first. Is time. Steve, you mentioned about still going in and actually being hands-on with the patients and practicing dentistry a few days a month. But Jennifer, time management is massive. I know you have twins, and so you've got a mother duty to handle, and then you've got your operations duty to handle. How do you have effective time management?
I just don't sleep. No, I plan. I sit down on Sunday and I look at what do I have to do? What have I not completed? And we do what we call our plans of the week. We are very regiment with our team. Leadership team, we do our plans of the week. We have the managers in the office do plans of the week, because if you are prepared, you can be more successful. And so I firmly believe that. And, I may not do 50% of my plan of the week. I intend to, but other things come up. I may choose that something needs my focus more than another item that I thought was going to be important that week. And then we pivot. But planning is how I stay organized, and how I'm able to get everything done.
And JW, there's nobody that does it better than her. I got to tell you, And these poor guys have to put up with me. I'm the person that asked them to do these things because I'm a former military officer. And, in the military, you can go into the wall in any office that you're in, and there's
You're
a
the
plan of
little
the week, a
Wingfield
plan of the
Army,
day, a
right?
plan of the quarter. Yeah. So a lot of these leadership things that I bring to the table are things that I learned as a naval officer. And, it has, while they seem like, oh gosh, I have to do this plan of the week. Well, if you don't plan to win, you're just basically losing as
Right.
far as I'm concerned. So we plan to win, and our attitude of gratitude and everything we do, but we keep positive mental attitude. And I think that is probably how we get so much done, is that we have a positive mental attitude. Jennifer works more than she should, let's be clear. But, I guess we all do. But, I think this attitude of gratitude, we're just grateful to be doing what we're doing, and feel really, really blessed to be in the position that we've got great jobs. We've got good people
Yeah.
that we're working with. We've got great,
I was just going to say
partners
that,
that we're
Dr.
partnered
Wingfield,
with.
that's part of how Dr. Wingfield and I can maintain the pace, the volume of work that we do, and have successful, profitable practices is our team. I know at any time I can ask anyone on the leadership team, any of the department leads, and say, hey, I need to get this done this week. I'm not going to get this done. Can I hand it over to you? We have worked together a really long time, and we trust one another, and we have really great communication. So, our team always jumps in and helps us, which is part, I have to have that. So, our team really has our backs.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things that I'll comment on. One of them was we talked before we started about partnerships, and that's a little bit of delegation, right? When you're delegating task or work or your supply partners or whatever that is, you're delegating that task to somebody. And I think unfortunately, too often people look at those partnerships. I don't even know if I think that's not even the right word, how a lot of people look at them. A lot of people look at them like this is some task-oriented type companies we work with, and they're providing a service to you. But I can speak for Support DDS. You truly see everything as a partnership, and I'm promise that's not just with us. That's with every vendor and every partnership company you work with. Why is that so important? And I'll ask Steve that first. Why is that so important to have really good relations with your partners and not see it as just, I'm just going to heap this on them to handle this work?
Well, most people look at these types of relationship as a vendor-customer relationship. I'm spending money with you, therefore you are beholden to do whatever we ask of
Yeah.
you. Or if you make one mistake, then we'll fire you and bring in someone else. And it's just not the philosophy of life that I choose to live. I choose to live a life of gratitude. I choose to live a life of, we are not perfect. No one is perfect. And for us, as I go to proposal with our channel partners and with our purchasing partners, our lab partners, our accounting partners, our call center partners. I'm going to proposal, and literally every time I sit down with them, I'll say, I view this as a partnership. We will be wrong on our side often. You could be wrong on your side. We want to work through this. This is not just a you give and we take. This is, I want you to win. You're providing a service. You should make money. We are, obviously your customer, and we'll need you to do your very best to provide the services we agree upon. But it is just a fundamental core value of mine that whoever we choose to do business with, we are going to be the very best customers that we can be. And we have found that when we do that, we get better outcomes from our vendors when it's a true partnership, which is why we choose to kind of live in a happiness-centered business world, where we're trying to make our customers happy. Jennifer and I are trying to make our teams, our doctors, our hygienists, our
Right.
whole staff as happy as they can be. And when we have that attitude with our vendor partners, we have found that they just do a better job for us. When something goes wrong, they make it right. And so that's really just the philosophy that we have chosen to run our business in. And it has been a winner for me and for us.
Yeah, you mentioned talking about having a positive mental attitude or coming in with the right attitude or how you approach life in general. It's funny. I was just on my the only time I drive a long distance, we'll drive out here. It's just easier to have your car and your dogs and everything else when we
Mhm.
come to Colorado. And I was listening to the Energy Bus.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you read that book or listened to that one, but just a great to how do you change your attitude even when something bad happens, right? You say, what am I trying to learn from this? What is the lesson in it for me? That starts off with the guy's has a flat tire and he's got to go take the bus and he ends up having to take it for 2 weeks and just how that changes. And so, I tell our teams as well. I tell all of them almost every time we meet. It says, you wake up every day. You have a choice of how you're going to approach the day, and part of that is having a very positive approach. Jennifer, how do you do that? How do you come in each day with an attitude of positivity? And I know it's hard
It,
sometimes. Sometimes you just want to scream at people and chew
it's
them out and get it
it's
over with,
honestly
but it's hard.
it's honestly easy. I don't live in doom and gloom and negativity, but when you were talking, I was thinking about Jenny Henson. Jenny Henson is our clinical leader on our team. She's on our leadership team. She's a hygienist and she coaches our hygienists and doctors and helps Dr. Wingfield with, clinical supplies and lab decisions. And she always says, Jen M is the fastest get mad, get glad because with what we do, we have a lot of pressure. We need to hit numbers. There's a lot on our plate. And so with that, Dr. Wingfield and I are very, we want to control the process. We want to do it quick. We're very intense people. And so, yeah, a lot of times things get frustrating, right? They don't work out the right way. And I get mad, but then I get glad real quick. I do not live in that. You cannot live in the negativity. We're always going to get upset about something, an outcome or an interaction or whatever the case may be. And our relationships that we built with the leadership team, we vent it out, we get mad, we get glad. And so when you were talking, that's exactly how I live my life. Get mad and get glad and just move on.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll tell you, JW, the reality is as a leader, and we were going to talk a little bit about leadership. As a leader, it is our job to be the person who sets the tone for this business. And I have worked with other DSOs. I used to be a consultant. I would consult inside some of the largest DSOs out there, very, very big businesses, where the leadership was just not positive. And how I felt that is as soon as somebody walked out of the room, like at a big board meeting, I would just be in there as an observer to give my opinion on it. Somebody would walk out of the room and they would instantly start talking negatively about someone that just walked out of the room. There is no trust in that. And as a leader, we have to have trust with the people that are around
So
us
important.
and the people that we're leading. They have to trust us and we have to trust them. And if there is negativity coming, oh, so and so just walked in the room, oh, she gets on my nerves or whatever, that would never happen in my business. Period. End of discussion. It is not going to happen. It happens in way too many businesses, and people
Yeah.
don't want to work in that type of toxic environment. So,
Yeah.
it is a decision that as a team, we have blind faith in one another. And if we find someone is talking behind someone's back, we crush it immediately. Hey, listen, we don't operate like that here. So if you want to operate like that, you're at the wrong place. That's it.
I heard Zig Ziglar years ago. He had one of his quotes. He said somebody would come up to him and he said, you could use this in your approach. He said somebody come to him and says, oh, hey, Steve, do you know about Jen? She's just doing a horrible job and blah blah. She goes, no, but you know what? Let's go get her and let's talk about it. And they're like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to talk to her about it. And like, well, yeah, but she's the one we're talking about. So let's go bring her into the circle.
It's true.
And it's so true, right? Because most people be like, well, no, I don't want to talk to them about it. It's like, well, but we're talking about them, so shouldn't they be here? And I think
Yes.
that's if you approach things like, because you should, when you have frustrations with people, you should go speak to them about it, right? Get it out of your system.
And we try to translate that into the dental offices too, because a lot of the people in our dental practices, this may be their first job. They may have come from another organization that had that toxic culture. And so, we have these conversations because every person that works for us, that's an opportunity to develop them, not only in the dental field, but personally. And I take that very serious. I have a lot of people that work in our Michigan offices that I've kind of taken under my wing, and I'm working on them professionally. And I just talked to them about, I was just listening to that conversation that you had and the words and the tone. And, we can develop people. I was developed. I had a leader in Cambridge Dental that coached me. You're an intense person and you need to work on this and work on that. And I really, I appreciated that. So we're very big on that. Dr. Wingfield and I is taking people under our wing and mentoring them, not just leadership, but anyone in our practices, and making sure that,
Yes.
it's okay if they come in with that attitude, but we want to talk to them and try to help them away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I want to mention is that we're continual learners in that, we hire leadership coaches. We have a leadership coach that works for us, that has, literally, helped us transform completely. And we're still always working on our emotional intelligence. And that is a piece of who we are as leaders. That is the most important part of the 21st century leader, is emotional intelligence. So we're working on our emotional intelligence, our other leaders' emotional intelligence all the time. It is a huge part of what sets us apart, is this real focus on development of emotional intelligence and continuing to learn how to be better with that.
Yeah, one of my favorite podcaster for leadership is Craig Groeschel. Has a leadership podcast, and he brings on amazing people, and he puts out one each month. And he says the organization gets better when the leader gets better. And so I think we always we need to be continually learning, and we need to be developing those leaders underneath us to be better leaders, because as you scale, you need more leaders, right? You have to have more leaders, because you just can't do it all, which is the one of the last points I want to make is, I'm real big on an acronym. I stole most of it, so don't think I was that brilliant. But, I use this 4-part where it says eliminate, automate, delegate, and then focus, and really meaning, what task are you doing each day that you can eliminate? What things could you automate so you no longer have to do them? The big one for us, and obviously with outsourcing, is delegating. How can you delegating? Which, if you take those 3 in their total, eliminate, automate, delegate, then you can focus on the really important stuff for the day, because there are things that we need to stay focused on, right? But why is delegation so important in an organization and for leaders as well?
Well, I'll start. I'll tell you that let's just talk specific to dental practices. Working in a dental practice is very stressful. And particularly when you live in the world we live in, which is, we live in insurance world, right? Where we're having to see more patients to make money. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, we have to provide the highest level of care in order to get reimbursed. And quite honestly, what we have found is there's just so many tasks that need to be done, so many logins that have to be logged in, so many things that have to be done, that we began to look at it and say, hey, listen, we are asking all of this stuff from the folks who are in our practices, and they just aren't, it's not getting done. We have checklists and, scorecards, and we have all the things, JW, that any big business would have. And what we kept finding is, hey, listen, X, Y, and Z is not getting done, but they are important to driving the success of the business. I'll give you an example. When hygiene is full, there's nothing more important than our hygiene chairs being full, because that's where 75% of doctors' treatment over the next 2 weeks comes from hygiene that they're checking today. When hygiene is full, doctor's full. Obviously, they're doing the exam, they're diagnosing the dentistry, and then that person is being told what needs to be happened. So what happens is we'd say, work on the recall, work on the recall, work on the recall. So they'll work on the recall, right? And then they get hygiene full. Then they get busy, they stop working on recall. And then hygiene's not busy. So it's this cycle that we were running into. Yeah, like literally this up and down and up and down. But when we got, we outsourced our recall to support DDS. And, we follow, by the way, we track everything in our business, literally every single thing, meaning how many calls were made, who did they touch, what's the success rate by person. We know We know that. And what we found is that when somebody's job was focused on outbound calls, like we have with our support DDS agents who work with us, they're making 6 times more calls than what the office is making, and they're consistently touching these patients. And guess what happens? Our hygiene books are filled. Right. Guess what happens? We were up in a really crappy September. We were still up 12% over last year. In a really crappy, as they call it in the dental world, September, we were still up 12% year over year because our hygiene schedules are full. The reason they're full is because your team, JW, is making these phone calls and it's not happening at the office level. So are we improving dental health for everyone? Absolutely. And your team is a big part of that. That's just an example. One example.
No, that's a you know, I was kind of shifting in kind of a leadership mode, but so great. I get to take part of that. Your business is up 12% in September. I feel like I deserve a commission. I'm going to get dinner or something. Wait a minute. I'm going to New Orleans with you. I'm going to New Orleans.
Coming to New Orleans with us. That's right.
You'll get a big hug.
But I mean,
Jennifer,
yeah, you will. But, I'll tell you, Jennifer could probably even tell you other ways we're delegating, and that we're just taking these tasks. And I will tell you, our business, you're going to get more of our business in the next 6 months, because we literally are having our offsite in December to prepare for Q1 and Q2. And a big part of that is to actually pull additional tasks out of the office. Because what we found is when our folks who are in the office are focused on the person in front of them and nothing else, they're building a relationship. And sales is all about relationships. People buy from people they know and they like and they trust, right? They know, they like, they trust them. And when we have somebody who's doing transactional sales, which means, Sally Sue who's at the office is trying to answer the phone, trying to do an insurance benefits breakdown, and then just is leaning across the desk and saying, "Hey, Mr. Smith, you need 2 crowns. It's 5,000. Did you want to do that? Yes or no?" And that's how a lot of sales happen in dental offices. Not sitting down and talking about the benefits of treatment, not sitting down and talking about how wonderful the doctors and hygienists are that are working on them. We can see you before or after work and on Saturdays. None of that stuff is happening because they're so focused on all the tasks. So our vision, Jennifer and I's vision, as we have slowly rolled things over to support DDS, and they're doing a great job at them, is to continue to pull more things out of the office so that our people who are patient-facing are building the relationships with patients, because we know that people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. And that takes time. That takes face-to-face, knee-to-knee, eye-to-eye interaction.
Yeah. And what we're finding...
Maybe think of something. Oh, go ahead, Jennifer. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying what we're finding is that the delegation is so important, because we find that most people that are drawn to healthcare have certain personality characteristics that are not task focused, right? They like people. They like to build that relationship and talk to the patient and educate the patient. Those types of people tend to not want to sit at a computer and pick up the phone and log the results and pick up the phone. They're not task-based. So what we're doing is we're looking at what do we delegate to people in the office and what do we delegate to people with support DDS. We're finding that letting the office focus on the people and building those relationships, just like we're building the relationships with our team members, they're building those same relationships with the patients and delegating the task-based work over to people that are on your team, JW, that have the time, can sit in front of the computer, that are task focused, and they can do that type of work. That is really making us so much more successful. And we're starting to be able to get all of it done.
Well, I was gonna comment on that. And I think you summed it up even better. Steve, you mentioned that I've heard it one time that said people will listen to people they like, but they will buy from people they trust.
That's right.
And so you have to build that you have to like you, right? But they got to trust you as well. And so that comes with time. And I would go, I love, of course, I love the part about delegation. I think for me as a leader, it's, I've been able to leverage other people to delegate to. But what I've also found, and this really applies to your hygiene program, I promise you, they're better at that job than your in-office employees are, right? Your team's in the office, they're not going to be good at, because guess what? They're not doing it all day long. It's kind of like, oh, you know what? I need to make a few phone calls. And so while they're doing that, they're thinking about the other things they do. So typically people you delegate can do the job better than you can do it. You just have to trust that they can do that. Now, delegation doesn't mean you don't follow up. I once heard this. I love it. It said delegation without investigation is simply relegation. So, you can delegate tasks to somebody, but you can have KPIs and measurements and reporting, and you can look and see how they're actually doing. But yours is working. Your business was up 12% in December or September. So I think that's how you measure things as well.
Well, and I think what we did that probably really worked on our end, because I have paid a lot of expensive tuition by making a lot of mistakes over the years, really expensive tuition by making big mistakes. So, I recognize that whenever we were going to partner with, in your case, support DDS, that we elected to have one of our leaders on our team train all of the agents. We don't just think, oh, well, JW's team knows how to answer the phone. No, we don't expect that. We take the time to train them. We actually take the time to give them personality tests so we know who we're hiring. We give them cognitive tests. Your people, I don't even know if you know we're doing that, but we do. We give all the candidates a personality test and a cognitive test before they come to work for us. So you want to know why we're getting the very best of the best? Because we are taking the time to hire just like we would in our practices in Atlanta or Detroit or wherever we are. And we have a team member who is working with your leadership team, who's on our leadership team. Like, we're not just saying, here, it's your problem, manage those people. Mm-hmm. No, we're treating them like they're team members of ours, like they're our team. And we're hiring them and we're training them with dedicated leadership to it.
And I don't even think you know this, Dr. Wingfield, but we involve them in our decision making. I mean, I have someone that is on Cheeto is her name. She works on the insurance verification for our 2 Michigan offices. And that's one of my goals for Q1 is to build out an entire insurance verification team, remove that task from our offices completely. And I'm looking at a software that I think could help with efficiencies, right? We can have less people and do it more efficiently if we're using the software. And I have Cheeto betaing that product for me. And we meet weekly, and she presents to me and to Rachel, her supervisor on our side, what she's finding. And I can tell, like, each week she's getting more confident. And so we're even working on that with the remote team members and developing them and giving them a feeling like they're part of our organization and they're part of the decisions that we're going to make. Is, if Cheeto, if this is a product that you think will help you in your role, then we're going to go ahead and use that for everyone. So it's really important to us.
Wow. Well, you're, and I think that goes back to the partnership piece, right? You're not looking at it as a one-way street. We're going to delegate, you go do this stuff, and we'll make the decisions and we'll tell you what to do. You're actually, who better to help you make the decision on insurance verification than Cheeto, who's the one doing it every day, right? Those are the kind of people that can really make a difference. Well, listen, this has been great. I think it's a quick kind of a view into how people can learn to delegate better, but also how you can be a more effective leaders. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm not saying this because y'all are a big client of ours or because we're sitting here face to face. If everybody approached utilization of outsourcing, insourcing as we call it, and you took the time to include them, you guys make them a part of your culture, you bring them in part of your team. If you want a model of how it's successful, it's you two and how y'all have done it. So thank y'all for being amazing partners as well. I think that's been super important. But maybe Jennifer or Steve, any last little comments or thoughts? And I really appreciate you being here.
Jennifer?
No, I was just going to say I'm excited for. No, I'm sorry. I think I might have a delay, but no, I was just going to say I'm excited for building this partnership in 2025. I have a lot of ideas, so I'm looking to even more support DDS and Wave Dental Professionals next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And JW, we're just so grateful that you created this business with your business partners, and you guys are continuing to build the business, or the hive, as you call it. And we're just certainly so proud to be partners with you guys and appreciate the partnership so very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Steve and Jen. Y'all, this has been great. It's really an insight into really what one of our really valued partners is doing and how they're being successful and how to be a leader. And look, you said something, I'll end it on this. you have to constantly be evolving in your leadership skills and how you approach, get feedback. Don't be afraid of negative feedback. It's okay to take that and figure out how you use that. And maybe it's taken me 50 plus years to figure out how to listen to other people, but I definitely understand the value of that. So thank you both for being on here, and we're really excited about the partnership. And again, we appreciate it, and the future is super bright. So everybody, thanks for joining in and listening, and we hope to see you on the next one as well.
Thank you.